Oh, is it going?
A little bit.
Yeah.
That was my interpretation of Flight of the Bumblebees.
Thank you. So, I mean, we're recording, but we don't have anything planned at all. So, I guess we'll talk about it. What are we doing right now?
Let's introduce ourselves. Who's all here?
Present.
So, we got Alec, Logan,
Yep.
and me, Urian. We're starting a podcast for the Hive.
What?
Yeah, we basically had the idea that we wanted to do like a podcast where we can interview bands, local musicians, anybody with experience in music or just people who really, really like music and talk about, you know, the scene, what's going on, what they like, what they've been listening to. And, you know, we think it's a good way to connect people with different musicians, different artists, and learn more about what's going on in Flag. That's the idea, at least.
Yeah, and we thought this first episode could be more about us introducing ourselves and our role at the Hive and our role in our community currently. But
Yeah, Alec, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'll start. I'm Alec Tippett, also known as the Koi Wolf, also known as Turtle Boy, also known as Yarn Cat, also known as Al.
who calls you Al?
My mom.
That's
Aw.
cute.
Oh, okay.
I've been thinking of going by Al, actually.
Sup, Al?
What's up, Al?
What's up?
It's too old. You sound like an old man
old
now.
right now. And that I'm 32 years old. That was the next thing I was gonna say. And my mom, she is from Illinois, and she is of Scottish descent. And she came here for college when she was 20 or so. And then my dad is from Yuma and South California. He's from San Francisco area, and he moved over. His dad was the mayor of Yuma for a while, and then he started a cable company and had me. And my name is Alec Tippett. Tippett means purse maker. I think that actually means in reference to crafting purses, not making money. So. And I was born in Lake Havasu. I don't remember being there, but I lived there for 1 year, and then I came to Flagstaff. And now I've been there pretty much ever since, or here ever since. I lived in Texas for about a year, where I played bass in a country rock band called Whiskey Rodeo, and that was my full-time job
It's a
for a
really
little while.
good band name.
Yeah, it was a rodeo. And then I came back because I wanted to do the Hive, and I wanted to play music with Tiny Bird and my friends, and I think meet Lonnie, my wife, who's a really great painter, and she did the bee mural in the front room. Lonnie Kai did with her friend Aja. That was something I paid for early on when I first came back. Also paid for the lion mural. That was Christian Candelaria. He worked next door at Single Speed Coffee. Or no, somebody he was seeing worked at Single Speed Coffee. That's how I met him. And then he'd come hang out and work on the mural. And anyway, yeah, that's me. I'm Alex. So the original founder is James Higbee. He lives in Phoenix now. I stuck around for a while, and then eventually he handed the place over to me shortly before COVID. I bought a lot of the gear out from him, and then then COVID happened, and so I paid out of pocket for a little while. We had a couple rehearsal people later on in COVID, and then the team here, Urian's been helping with the Hive since the James Higbee days. Urian's been running sound, playing shows. And if it weren't for this team here or Urian, the Hive wouldn't still exist, or James Higbee. And I'd like to probably take a tiny bit of credit too, but it's really just everybody all coming together to form the Hive mind that makes it function. So next is Urian Lee, who I've traveled a little bit with and watched him play music for a long time. What do you do at the Hive? What did I say? Oh yeah, I'm the general director. That's right. I gave you my life story,
In
but
one
that's
word?
yeah.
So I'm Urian Lee. I'm from Cameron, Arizona. grew up out there. I was born in Tuba City, Arizona, but I'm not going to give you my whole life story. um, I will tell a story about me and my dad, though, because it pertains to a lot of why I do what I do. Um, growing up, my mom and dad split, and on the weekends I'd go visit him, and I liked hanging out with him at night, and he would just put on record after record after record, and just like I remember sitting there just watching him mouth the words, sing along the songs, and it just like made me wanna make music that people could do that too, and so I saw how powerful music could be, and that's exactly why I started doing music things. I started doing sound because I didn't want to have to rely on anybody to do my own sound or record music or whatnot. And then I started holding house shows off of Lake Mary. And then James and Alec were like, hey, you want to do some sound here at the Hive too? And then that's how I started just randomly booking shows at the Hive, doing sound at the Hive. And I play in my own band called Naming Our Monsters. I played in previous other bands with a lot of good friends, and just all around having a good time with music.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome.
I'm currently the head booking manager at the Hive, and sometimes sound guy.
Cool. Well, I guess I'll go. My name is Logan Warren. 23 years old. I was born in Apopka, Florida, but I moved out here when I was like 12. Lived in Phoenix for a little bit, came up here for college, graduated college, and now I'm doing stuff here. My story from the Hive started when I first played a show up here with Ree, who invited us to a house show with my band Gone Before Us.
Oh.
And then, we just kind of stayed connected, and I would play at the Hive all the time. I met Urian, and eventually I met Alec, and I've seen so many shows at the Hive and played so many shows at the Hive that I wanted to take a bigger part of it and kind of help the dream of turning it into this awesome community music space like a reality. I think all of us here have like a really awesome deep love and passion for music and community, and we're all trying to achieve our dreams. Kind of same thing, like music has always been a huge part of my life, like especially growing up. Sometimes it felt like it was the only thing that like I understood or the only thing that understood me, and so I want to be able to provide a space for music and for people to kind of discover themselves similar to the way that I did. And I'm the social media manager. That's me.
Awesome. I'm Ree Thompson. I was born in Mission Viejo, but I grew up in Hemet, California. I didn't really listen to music that much. Like, I listened to music, but it was more of something that happened in the background than something I actively listened to. Until, like, 2017, when I was a senior in high school, someone took me to my first house show. And it was crazy. There was a mosh pit. Some kid from elementary school saw me and was like, "What are you doing here?" and tried to push me in the mosh pit. And I didn't go that time. But the second show I went to, I got into a mosh pit. And then I was like, I love this. I love music. I love punk music. I like ska. There was a lot of like ska bands in my hometown. And I came to Flagstaff for NAU, but I wanted to just continue to like go to shows, so it was hard at first. I like went alone a lot of the time to shows in Flagstaff, like at Fire Creek before Fire Creek.
That's real. It's a true music lover.
Yeah. And then I went to a lot of shows at the Hive, especially when I was like 19. I made a lot of friends there. I made friends with Nikki, and Nikki's not here right now, but I love Nikki. Nikki does a lot of cool stuff for the Hive. I met her, we became friends. We started a zine. She started a zine, and I helped make some pages and put on shows where we sold the zines and like had a release, and that's kind of how I met Alec, also through Eli, for the Tiny Bird. And I kept bugging Alec I don't know if I was bugging him, but I kept checking in and saying, like, hey, if you ever need help with the Hive, like, let me know. I just really want to help. And, like, during COVID, I didn't want to see it go away. So I just kept texting every now and then, like, hey, I'll help. And then in, like, August of 2022, Alec was like, hey, are you still, like, down to help with the Hive? Like, I have a few other people who want to help me run this place, and asked me to come on board. And here, that's why I'm here right now. I really like music now. I listen to all kinds of things, all different genres. And I'm really big in the community. I'm a barista, so I see a lot of people every day, and I just like working my job and working at the Hive, doing things.
True.
That's me. Oh, and I'm 26. Oh, and I don't really know what I am, but I help. I'm helpful, is
You're
what
the
I am.
soul of the Hive.
I'm a helpful worker bee.
Just in case, I feel like we should add some like Subway Surfer footage over this, you know, just to keep people lasered into this.
Oh, yeah, that's not a bad idea, or some kind of like
Brain rot.
like
rot.
a bee or something. I don't know.
It could
Yeah.
be like a bee, like with the DVD thing,
Yeah.
just going across the screen,
Like
Oh, that's a good one.
and then it never hits the corner.
Oh man.
One
Super-
episode,
we
we
get
have to like
flamed
let
for
it
that.
hit the corner though.
Yeah, it's got to be the 100th episode, and it's the same episode that we do the podcast with live bees in the room.
In the room, yeah. We're gonna do it at a bee farm.
Yeah, we'll see. You know, we'll see who can take the most stings. Ree's definitely losing.
I'm losing.
Well
I think
said.
that's a
well-
great
well said-
segue
well-
into our next topic of how many bees do you think you can fight? Unless, you know, there's something else.
I got stung by one behind the ear one time, and I learned to respect bees.
You gotta respect. They do everything for us,
When
man.
I was in the 2nd grade, I held a protest at school to save the bees because I saw in the news that lots of bees were dying. So I made little signs out of paper plates and popsicle sticks and like handed them out to people who wanted to save the bees. And instead of it helping, it made people put bees into water bottles and shake them up in front of us to get us mad, and they stepped on the bees. It was really sad, but
Why would anybody do that?
Well,
because
terrible.
kids are mean
Kids.
sometimes.
I guess you learn about human nature pretty early sometimes. A lot of the time, usually. Geez, that being said, wasps are actually pollinators in the Southwest.
Don't let wasp propaganda get to you.
No,
bro.
man, it's true. It's true. The ones here in the Southwest are not pests. That's more of a problem in other parts of the country. In Hawaii, here they pollinate flowers.
That's good.
So if you try not to kill the wasps, because they will remember and they will come after you. I've
That's
also
true.
had that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasps are mean.
Well, see, there you go, saying bad words about them.
They're
Is
listening
that-
in.
They're listening.
Propaganda?
What'd you say?
Is that propaganda?
It might be.
What does it mean? I feel like you're about to say something way more important.
Yeah,
Ryan.
Ryan, you seemed like you had some real insight to add, and I just
No,
said some
Or
stupid
maybe
stuff.
a new direction.
no, I have no clue. I don't know. Maybe we could just start asking each other questions about your music life and whatnot.
Well, I was going to loop back because I felt like Reed mentioned... Okay, so I had a couple questions.
Yeah.
Maybe we could... Yeah, so what was the band you first saw in California at your first show? Do you remember the name?
Oh my gosh. They always say Hemet is heaven because I grew up in Hemet. I should know this. I'm such a fake fan right now.
Oh, no, that's... I mean, you were more there for the experience than...
Yeah.
You were there for your friends, right?
I was there for
That's-
my friends.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm actually the first band I saw in California was Almond Blossom at a homecoming dance. Or not a homecoming, it was Morp, which is like prom backwards.
We should have one of those.
And it was
We
Coachella
should.
themed because like we were next to Coachella Valley, so it was called Morpchella.
Oh, well, we shouldn't do that. No.
And I wasn't gonna go, but my friends convinced me, and like I was dancing with all like the DJ, and I wasn't feeling it, and I went to like the stage, and there was this band playing, and I just started to dance, and this girl noticed me, and she was like, "Can I dance with you?" And we started dancing together, and she thought I was cool, so she was like, "Come to this show, and then like come to this house show with me," and then I had this little group of friends that I went to house shows with.
And then what was the second question I had? Oh, so the house show was the first thing. Well, and then you were messaging me, and then that was how it happened. It was actually, I remember, because you still messaged me through COVID.
Yeah.
And we kept in touch, and then finally and yeah, I probably would have, I was so close to giving up near the end of COVID, because I felt like I kind of held on for a long time, and until I was able to have the spot kind of like under my control, honestly, to kind of steer it more in the direction that I felt like was suitable for Flagstaff. Though looking back, I think that James Higbee's vision was ahead of its time, or possibly more grounded in reality than people wanted to give it credit for, because I'm facing some of the same issues now. But what I'm grateful for is that if it wasn't for the fact that Ree and Logan and Urian and Brycey from Monette at the time, and now what's the name of the other bands? IV and Blouse.
To Kill a Fly.
To Kill a Fly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
To Kill a Fly is dope.
And Nikki.
Yeah.
Jabala, and that's Anytown Zine was the name of the zine.
Yeah, Anytown Zine.
That was what I was gonna ask. Anytown Zine. If it wasn't for everybody coming together, because Foray moved in next door, and there was talk they kind of had an interest in the space. The restaurant next door had an interest in the space, and I was just so like, oh, like there's a global pandemic, and there's all this crazy stuff going on, and it was just like, dude. And then somehow magically everybody came together and really refreshed my hope for the world and humanity, even despite the bee stomping and bee bottle.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I still
right.
see that kind of stuff every day, and I see people tear each other down in person and online, and there's a lot of mistrust. So it's really good to have this space, because when I was growing up, I didn't have any all ages places. We had Applesauce Tea House, which is actually where Liminal was for a little while. If you guys remember Liminal. They had some shows over there across from the Kava Shop on South San Francisco. That's where my first band, Hot Little Hands, played some shows. And then I played at the Joint when I was 16. It was still a strip club in the back. I mostly played at bars. The Boardwalk, that's where I played. Somebody had gotten stabbed there, when I was going
That's
there.
crazy.
And then open jam, I did an open jam at Boardwalk, and that's where I got that idea from, is my music teacher, Rafe Sweet III, who passed away about 8 years ago, and probably another reason that I'm still doing the Hive. If it wasn't for the inspiration and the motivation he gave me shortly before his death, the encouragement and the guidance that it gave me for so many years, I also think I probably would have given up by now. And so he did open jam at the Boardwalk. I remember going over there and playing with people of all ages. I was rocking Drop D, when I was 13 or whatever.
When I was 13 and discovered Drop D, I thought that was it.
Oh man, I was so scared to jam with people too. And everybody was all tatted up and like way older and like hardcore and smelled weird, and I was just like, is this what it takes?
Yes.
Now that I'm older and smell weird, I think it may be a little bit.
There's something to that.
Yeah.
There is something to that.
Well, yeah. I still smell weird. I showered a little bit ago. I puked in the shower because I was nervous to do this.
Do you guys remember your first show? Like your first show you played?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
that experience?
Oh, man. Yeah, I do. Regretfully.
What was it?
Well, I kind of want to hear it. Come on.
Are you telling me to elaborate?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Well, so I went to this really small, kind of shitty art school called Learning Foundation in Performing Arts. And
If they hear that, will they be offended?
I don't think so. I would be surprised if they heard this.
You should
And
send it to them.
I'm pretty sure nobody that was there when I was going to high school there still works there. But basically, it was like a huge art school, and they had a massive auditorium, and it was like a 500-seat auditorium or something. It was huge. And I got ahead in my classes a lot, and so most of my high school was just me kind of fucking around and like talking to the teachers and like kind of roaming the halls and just like doing whatever, because like, you know, I didn't have to pay attention in the class, especially because it was like a shitty art school. You know, there was not good education there. Anyways, I convinced the principal of the school to let my band, which was at the time, it's grown into Gone Before Us, but at the time we were a band called Public Access. And yeah, we played there, and it was terrible. I mean, like, everyone that was at the show was all like, oh man, that was great. But like looking back on the videos, it was so bad. Everybody lied straight to my face.
That's a big lesson right there. The
No,
fact you
seriously.
recognize that, I know. You learned that early, that's good.
Well, like, there was like the one thing that there was a few people that were like, you know, your stuff is like pretty decent. It's got potential. And, you know, those people, like, shout out to those people.
They give you some good feedback too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, people were saying, they were saying they fucked with it. Maybe they actually did, but I don't know, man. Looking back on it then, it was like pretty okay. And now, especially like 7 or 8 years later, it's like, dude, I was such a bad musician at that point in my life.
If you had never taken the risk, though, you wouldn't have ever developed further and traveled or played for bigger crowds
No,
or made
totally.
new friends or...
I don't regret it, but it's like, you know, it's only a little embarrassing.
What about you, Urian?
My first show was a house show here in town at one of my friends' place. I was in college. Like Logan, I wasn't the best musician. I was still playing by myself, as I usually do. And I sang, and then like I remember covering "Baby I'm an Anarchist" by Against Me during that show, and I started playing, and then at the end of I got to the end of the song, finished the song, and then just hear a girl in the back. That was cute, and I'm like, wow. that was, it just felt weird, because it's like I was just like 19 years old playing this house show, that punks are at and whatnot, and then just like playing like, oh yeah, this is one of my favorite songs by Against Me, and then like just like in the background, oh that was cute. It's like
Was that like cute, like derogatorily?
yeah, and I was just like, oh man, I don't know, it kind of like made me really nervous for the rest of my set, you know?
Oh, that sucks.
Was that like
man.
the first song?
It was my first song.
Oh, no.
Wicked.
Oh,
I know.
no.
That's, yeah.
We're glad you're still doing music.
But then I played the rest of my set, and then like history's history. I don't know. I don't even remember any of the other bands playing, but like, because I was just like so nervous after, like, you know, it's wild.
When are you going to play a show? Rhea, have you played a show? I feel like you
Haven't
performed
you
and
been
I don't
doing
even
the
know
kazoo?
about it.
You performed with us on stage.
Yeah, that was like technically my first show.
Was that the band lottery? Was that, or how did it, what
When
was it?
was that? That was like in summer.
Oh,
last
when you were
year.
on tour?
No, I invited Reed to start singing backup for Name Your Monsters. And then things got really busy afterwards.
Yeah.
We only did like one show where Reed sings a few songs.
Yeah, it was fun.
You performed a cappella at that one open mic, too.
Oh, yeah. That was nerve-wracking. Like, Urian was there. I was, like, so nervous. At Cornish, there was an open mic night for original songs, and I write a lot of song lyrics, but I don't think I have the best voice. So I don't play any instruments except for the clarinet, but I probably wouldn't be good at the clarinet right now because I haven't played in a really long time. But I sang a bunch of songs there. That was cool. But I've done like theater, and I've like done slam poems. Like I used to perform that a lot in like high school and college.
So it sounds like everyone that is looking for songwriting collaborators or jam partners to form a new band.
That'd be cool. Maybe one day.
That was a music festival I had, Thunderdome.
Thunderdome.
We do it out in the woods or in
Dome
the
Fest.
desert. Dome Fest, that's right, Dome Fest. And it was 11 bands enter, 12 bands leave.
That's pretty cool.
My
I should
first-
say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say. I think technically my first real show was at the Hive
Oh,
with Gone Before Us, because before.
public access didn't count.
No, well, because public access played at coffee shops
That
mostly.
counts. That's
I
the
mean, it
public.
wasn't like a venue.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
That's an interesting distinction.
Yeah, like not that like I mean they had like a stage and some sound, but it wasn't like a dedicated venue. And not
Yeah.
only that, but the first show that we played up here was sold out. So it was like a fucking
Oh, with the Hive?
yeah, it was
That's
an
cool.
awesome experience.
Yeah.
Great introduction to the Hive for
I
sure.
saw him and I was like, I need them to play at my house show.
Oh.
Good memories, man. Good memories.
If we're going with venue as a distinction, first show I played was at Fire Creek.
Word.
I opened for Them Savages
Oh.
Nice.
And they're still playing music?
out in the Seattle area, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pacific Northwest, somewhere over there. My first performance was there was some kind of award ceremony in elementary school, and I had my guitar, and they asked me to play guitar for some reason because I was excited about it. And so every time somebody won something, I go wow, like play a note on the guitar, and like
That's nice.
it's pretty epic. I still remember how the light looked that day. There was like some clouds, and the sun was like shining. And I went to school at Montessori, Schweitzer. There's a little bit of music education there. I had a teacher who was kind of mean to me, but
I feel like everybody had that one teacher that just like was kind of a douchebag.
yeah, I mean that's putting it strongly. But yes, at the time that, I guess thinking back, sometimes I still feel that way.
Also, I think I'm spreading misinformation. Public access played at the Rebel Lounge.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry, guys.
And that's see that's kind of they're like a bar though, right? They have a bar.
Yeah, but
That's
it's like a
in
venue.
Phoenix. Yeah, I saw a lot of good shows there. Not a lot, but a couple of really good shows.
Nirvana played there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Those
would
are
be
like
a
a lot of
great
really
venue for
cool
a lot of
bands.
bands up here to try to go play down south.
Totally.
That would be a good way to put a bill together. If bands kind of who have been learning up here to put their own bills together with us, use that same sort of strategy. It's a little bit easier
Totally.
than you realize to get out of town or make connections. It's really just kind of a matter of reaching out and not that you need my advice or anything, but
Yeah. I went on tour over summer and I thought it was gonna be super like difficult and like it definitely was a lot of work to get it together, but I thought that you had to be like this big name music person that like was like signed to a record label to go on tour, but it actually is just asking a place in a different state if you can play there. And like that's about it.
Yeah.
Like that's all you got to do.
you guys remember your first house show? That was your thing. That was
Yeah,
your
that
first
was
show.
mine. Was
There
at
was a
Reed.
fight.
Oh.
There was a big fight because some Nazis showed up.
Oh, dang.
And like I had to leave because the cops got called, and I was like, okay, this is really scary.
That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, that sucks. Speaking of which, Rafe Sweet, my teacher, used to actively go out and find skinheads when they came through town and fight them.
That's awesome.
That happened in the alley next to the joint.
Always morally acceptable to punch a Nazi.
We can all agree on that. Anyway, now that we have the
Real.
most basic bottom line established.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this was like a decent first episode.
Well, there's a few things that I think we have to get out there. Right?
yeah.
'Cause, what do we plan to do with the Hive? You know,
That's a good question.
currently, because like what the Hive has been is basically a venue space, but like what do we plan to do more with the Hive?
I really love the idea of turning the Hive into something that's beyond a venue for bands to play at, and it turns into something for artists to like meet and collaborate and get experience to put themselves on the path that they want to follow in terms of the music industry or whatever creative outlet, you know, like I could see, you know, hopefully that we have like people doing like dance classes or like teaching people how to dance or just all kinds of art forms, poetry slams, like art nights, like maybe painting classes or, you know, whatever, all of that stuff plus music, you know, just anything related to being creative and like giving people a hub and a spot to go do it with other people and gain experience is what I think would be awesome.
Yeah, I had like some ideas for like doing like still life drawings, like having a big centerpiece and then just inviting people to come like draw still life.
That's a good idea.
And like maybe have an instructor there or someone who like knows what they're doing. We introduced drag shows, which is really cool. I think like, sorry, there's so many ideas that I've had over like the past few years and like I'm forgetting all of them right now. I'm nervous.
It's hard when you put a mic in front of somebody.
Yeah, the microphone
And tell
really
them it's
makes
recording.
me anxious. Yeah. No, I think the Hive could be like a collaborative space for people to make art and to make music. I really think the community aspect is important, and I wish we
Food
had
drives.
more like doing like things like food drives, especially like maybe discounted tickets for bringing cans of food in to donate. And just like maybe getting people together to do community service projects, just being a force of good in our community as well as the artistic community.
Yeah.
I have more ideas. I just can't think of them.
No,
right
Sam,
now.
I was blanky too. Like I was like, I know exactly how to answer this, and then I started talking, and I was like, oh.
What do you think?
I asked the question. I'll go last.
Oh, is that how it works?
Is that
I
how
didn't
is
know.
that
Yeah.
podcast etiquettes? This is the first podcast I've ever done.
What is it like? Is there like, do you parlay, sir? I don't know. Well, the original vision is actually stuck true, and I think a lot of the ideas that Ree and Logan just said are the same ones I've had from the beginning. I myself have thrown a clothing drive and a food drive and a couple of those types of things. I've also wanted to have some workshops. One idea I've had is like some like equipment basics. Like I've wanted a well-trained sound person to come teach people how mic stands work and how mics work and the best way to sing into a mic and place a mic on an ampliphone or on an amplifier. How to do a proper sound check so that if you go to a stage like the Orpheum or a festival, I want it to be a place of education because speaking from the place of having played, you know, semi-strip clubs and bars at a young age and also not really having a lot of people who were even open or willing to instruct it at times, both in music and at work, I felt like a lack of leadership at times, and it is kind of a dog-eat-dog world out there, and it especially is in the industry, and I feel like I've been really lucky to find other people who don't view it as an industry necessarily, but they view it as like as kind of like a humanitarian way of living and being. It's an act of love, and to me that sharing of resources, information, hands-on learning, rather than just YouTube videos and face-to-face learning, I would like to make that a thing. I also recognize that Urian ended up working with Creative Flagstaff for a while over at CCA. He learned on the board at the Hive, which is a Behringer X32, which is a digital board that is used in venues across the world. It's used in several venues inside of Flagstaff, Arizona. So if you were to work at the Hive and get trained on sound, you would be able to go run a board at most other venues in town. So training people to be professionals in the field, and like for example, we've had a couple interns. The music studio that's currently in the Hive AAA had an intern who came up from Crass in Phoenix, which is like a recording conservatory of some kind, and they're now working on the crew at the Orpheum. which isn't a terribly hard job to get, but you do learn a lot doing things like that. And when I started, I wanted to do everything because that's what Rafe told me to do, is to work it from every angle. At the beginning, I wanted to be a front person, but then over time, I've learned differently for where I am now, and I'm more of a behind-the-scenes guy a lot of the time. But I ran the doors, I ran sound, I've been a booker. I've done the split at the end of the night. One time I tried counting. I somehow ended up booking Voodoo Glow Skulls and getting it at Yucca. And at the end of the night, I was so nervous trying to count the money to pay them out. I counted it like 10 fucking times. and I was just like, ah! Because it was like, I don't know, it wasn't even that much money. Now, at the time, it was such a big deal. It was like $800 or something, or $1,000. And I was like, oh my God! And so I think having a community that is centered around developing skill to make a better show happen, to showcase more artists, to create the path for artists across the Southwest, the country, and hopefully even the world, despite the troubles that travel will have with climate change. I think it will create the possibility of everybody reaching a larger audience and improving their skill and connecting with the people in the community, because I think in order to move through the crisis that we're going to be going through, we need to use art to communicate our messages effectively. I think that's music, I think that's visual, that's song and dance, and I also think people need a place to dance and hang out and be together and meet each other and cry and laugh and get pissed off and everything in between. So providing space for that, it would be great to have more daytime hours for art. The thing is, we just don't have enough people and enough money to run the place. We can only do shows right now, and that came just hobbled together post foray when I was about to quit, and everybody came around us, and then we basically took what infrastructure we had of the Hive that had been established by me and James pre-COVID, like the square point of sale and just like kind of a loose business plan, and then people made like an Instagram and email and a Facebook, and we started doing it, and now all of a sudden it's been 3 years and we have 5,000 or 4,000 followers on Instagram. So I guess where I want to see that go is I want to see that go bigger, and I want to see it provide more opportunity for artists to connect with each other and themselves and their fans, and to provide them more money to travel and to fund their records, and to provide the people who work in the Hive money for their time and effort, because it's easy to get burnt out. I do believe the DIY has been important, but it is do it yourself. I've been saying DIY and to die lately, because James put in so much work and he did a lot of it by himself, and I'm thankful to him every day. And now I'm seeing that there's no way that the Hive could exist without everybody, and without Urian having been there almost every step of the way, and a lot of people that I'm probably not thanking. That James knows better, and that Urian, Cecil. I want to shout out Cecil. So a lot of the unseen makers and connectors.
Nate Harriman,
the Harriman peeps. Yeah, dang. And yeah, I remember going to shows at Cottage House and Big House. And I guess this became more of an interview with me. I'll probably do less episodes. I don't know. I might have some special guests, but I wanted everybody to meet me. So I'm grateful that Logan and Urian had this idea. This is Alec Tippett.
So mostly Logan's idea.
This is my jazz voice. How's everybody doing?
Welcome to the Hive.
Hey, Flag Shows, how are you? How about you come? Yeah.
Hive 2025.
Flag Shows, come be our next guest. Ooh. Come do some of those naughty things you've been talking about in your stories.
Dude, not a Flag Show's booty call on the first podcast.
Is it 30 minutes or how long?
It says 39.
Is it weird and it's like actually 29, or is it really actually 30?
It's 39.
Cakewalk, man. Rafe used Cakewalk.
Yeah.
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 Did you answer the question?
Yeah, did you want to say anything, Urian?
So where I see the Hive going is where I want to see the Hive go is everything you guys said. Not to just say like, oh yeah.
See, it's hard.
But also, I just want it to stay there for the community. You know,
Same.
it's been very helpful for me as a artist, musician, and a person. I think, being a sound person there, like I've done like over like 100 shows there. Maybe, probably not. Maybe like close to it though, if not 100 shows. But doing sound at that board and then looking at the band playing and then like them hearing themselves so perfectly and then you see it spark in their eyes. The better I do as a sound person, the better they do on stage. And that's always really cool to see, which is why I think I'll constantly keep doing sound everywhere, anywhere I can. But it's also cool to train people to do sound because you start seeing them like something click, like, oh, I can do this, oh, I can do that. So making sure the Hive stays alive for those moments to happen is my goal.
Totally. It's super important to have, especially like as an aspiring musician and artist. It can be super confusing and overwhelming to try and like break out into that like scene, you know, just because, you know, it's hard to get in touch and there's, you know, you have to find bands and, you know, everybody knows that shows, you know, it's a lot to handle. And it's important to have a spot that can bring that, you know, kind of first step to people for people to break out into what they want to do. And I think, especially with all of our goals and all of our love and passion, that we can definitely make that happen, especially if we get more help from the people around Flagstaff and stuff. Yup.
Yeah, more community partnerships. I
Yeah,
reached
if you
out
want
to
to be
the.
a guest.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. But we'll bring a guest in. Maybe we should interview someone from the Orpheum. Oh, that's because I tried emailing them to kind of talk about some of these things, like, and we had a brief exchange, me and the owner, and then I don't know. He's probably just busy. I think he works at the hospital.
Oh,
wow.
wow.
So it's funny to think that the Orpheum is also run by people who are moonlighting as venue operators, just like us. Like we all have jobs and we all like do other things, and then even at the Orpheum. So I think what we're trying to do is make that possibly not how it is. I
Yeah.
think we're trying to make it so that we can make it the best it can be by making it at least one or two people's jobs. Is what I would like to see too. I
Someone who
don't.
can put attention on it like 100% of the time.
Yeah, and cause even today I was up at 5. I went down to Camp Verde for work, and I worked all day, and I did get a chance to stop by the Hive and clean up a little bit and send a couple emails out and do some stuff, but it's not easy balancing.
Not
And,
at all.
And
We do it out of love.
yeah. Well, I can't even describe why I'm still doing it, but I think it is the love. I think it's there's a part of me who's trying to create that thing for myself that I wish existed when I was a kid and a teenager, and perhaps somebody else will appreciate that. But I think part of it is the hive mind. I think that we need to have some guests on. I think that we need to be open to people's feedback as they give it to us. I'm interested to see what people have to say. I'm interested to hear what they have to say. I would welcome anybody to reach out to me if they want directly as the general director of the Hive. I'm open to input and feedback. I would like to make it a place by the people for the people. I would like to own up to that.
Straight up.
Straight
Straight
up.
up.
I don't know. I think that people are pissed off right now, and I understand why. 'Cause I am too. So, I want to make something that's, because you have Spotify, man. People are paying $20 a month for Spotify. People are like, and then if you look at the math there, people get paid way more at the Hive on like an okay night than they do like thousands of streams on Spotify.
I think I remember, I might be just like misremembering these numbers, but I remember Snoop Dogg saying like one of his songs got like 1 million streams. I think it only paid like a couple $1,000 or something.
Yeah.
Which is like 1 million. You mean like 1 million people have heard that, and like
All
it's-
of Drake's accumulative streams cannot pay for Spotify's CEO's salary this year.
That's crazy.
And that's the biggest artist. He's bigger than the Beatles. He's
Not
got more
anymore,
streams
bro.
than the Beatles. Oh, Who is it now?
I don't know, but he fell off.
Oh yeah. Well, unfortunately, he's still at the top of the charts for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna go into a hip hop section. Right now, though. That's a whole day.
Kendrick.
Shout out Cecil, Patrick So, Illustrated Mess, Fang Over Fist.
Get him on the podcast.
Yeah, that's actually a good person. Should we do that next?
Whoever wants to be on next is the next guest, you know.
Flag
Yeah.
shows, if you really want to come on, I'm for it.
Yeah, totally.
Let's
do
talk
it.
this out.
I want to know. I want to know where it's coming from. Actually, no, I don't want to know.
I don't know, man.
Oh man. All right, Cecil, Patrick. So if you're hearing this, we're coming for you, or you're coming over here to record this.
Does anybody have anything else to add?
Maybe you can rap. Dude.
You could be the intro.
Next guest is Questlove.
He might be down, man.
No, right? Let's just invite like everybody. Let's see if Victor Wooten wants to get on this. You know.
People are like, who? No.
You're real if you know Victor Wooten.
Or you're a nerd.
Or you're a nerd. I'm definitely a nerd. So.
What say you, Ree?
What say I? Who do I want on?
What? Anything. Let's just go.
Just be well. Be well. Eat your vegetables.
Veggies are good. Drink water.
Yeah, drink some water. I'll drink some water to that.
Take a walk.
The ASMR.
Get some fresh air.
Well, thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. We're the Hive. We want you to be a part of our community. We want to help you build the community.
Be well. Pick each other up when you're down.
Hit us up if you
Yeah.
want to be on.
Support other people's arts and songs. Look at their thing when they show it to you or listen to it. And go make a thing today.
Not AI.